And we are live. Hello. Happy Sunday.
Hello, everyone.
Alfred was here first.
Hey, Alfred. Alfred showed up an hour before the rest of us.
Yeah, he's early. You got here before I got here. I'm usually early. Chompy Toyland. Hello.
Hope everyone was
Derek,
having
what's
a
up?
great weekend.
Yeah, my
Rodney,
weekend was
hello.
pretty good. Of course.
Hey, Michael.
Drew, what is up? Oh, happy
Brian.
birthday.
Oh, hey, Brian. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Brian. Happy birthday to you. Jazz hands.
I wish I had like a birthday screen overlay or something for you.
I think we have someone trying to stir up controversy in the comments already.
I see it. DJJS. Let's with peace and love, let's not. Orlando 2000. Hi.
About to get a
Lindsay.
snowstorm.
Ooh.
Ooh. Well, here in Orlando, we had high 60s, low 70s. A little bit of rain, but just a sprinkle. It's
We
kind of
have
lovely. My wife swam today in the pool.
ooh.
Sorry, I
Um
don't mean to make you jealous, Lindsay. I'm
uh
evil.
it was gross and foggy here today during our once a month couple days of rain.
Mm. Hey, Christopher.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay.
It's all right. No, we're just
No,
teasing.
we're just messing. No hard, no foul. Okay, if we can get to oh my gosh, it shot up
Oh,
like
oh,
oh, and then they left as soon as I noticed them.
all right. Well, we broke 60.
Yeah, we broke
Hey, Brett.
60. Let's go ahead and get started. In three, two. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 71 of the Attractions Podcast. I'm Brittany,
And I'm Seth.
and we are here to talk to you about the latest and greatest theme park news and more, as well as what's going on in our own lives. So, Seth, how has your week been?
My week has been great. Thank you for asking. Quiet week, only 3 or 4 visits to the theme parks.
Only three
Um,
or four.
I gotta say, this week was a very momentous, historic occasion for our nation. And I am proud to say I was there to witness it in person. I was there for the very final day of Donald Trump in the Hall of Presidents. I
How
had to
was it?
watch. I had to watch the curtain come down one time. No one jumped over the spiked railing.
Well, that's good.
No, the security guards did not have anyone. Polite applause, and the curtain did come down. Uh, if in case you hadn't heard, Hall of Presidents is now closed at the Magic Kingdom, and Disney has said it will open with President Biden, but we don't know exactly what he'll be doing, or how the show might change, or when it will reopen. So stay tuned.
Normally, I think when they added Trump, we got an announcement in early January, like the first week of January.
Yeah, it's a little unusual. They did not make any announcement whatsoever about the refurbishment. Even the cast members on the 19th, on the last day it opened, weren't sure what was going to happen on the 20th. And it was just announced as closed on the 20th, with no prior warning. So normally it would have closed earlier in January, and they'd make some sort of announcement about when it would come back. I'd hope to see that it would be back open for October 1st because that would be its 50th anniversary.
That would be nice. Maybe we'll get a featurette on the White House YouTube channel of Biden recording his slides like they did with Obama.
I think there's a good chance we might go back to a day where the current president does not have a big speech, because no matter who it is, it's gonna cause some angst. If you
I'm,
remember, there was a time before Bill Clinton was installed when all the presidents did was kind of nod and stand there.
I
And
was an infant.
yeah, I think I think they might go back to that. Who knows? We'll
I
see. We'll see.
or hear me out, make it Muppets.
Well, you are not the first person to say Muppets. There's a lot of people talking about the Muppets lately. I'm a fan of Kermit and Company, so I've got my flippers crossed.
That would be a dream come true. I also had a quiet week. We started training with Brody this week, so that's been an adventure.
Oh,
He knows the command to go in his crate now, so
okay.
that's a start. Um,
So what kind of a technique do you, or you got a clicker? Is this food based? What are we
it's
doing?
it's food based. I bought like a treat pouch that you wear on a belt, and I have because he's allergic to chicken, so we have to kind of modify his treats. I have like peanut butter like rounds, and I break them into little pieces, and that's what I use for rewarding him. We tried the clicker.
Sounds good. That might work on me.
They smell really good. It's kind of tempting. But we tried the clicker and he didn't really care. But he loves the peanut butter thing. So that's what we're going with. And cheese. So it's
That's
exciting.
that sounds like a full week.
And I started cross stitching. I started another
Oh,
uh
you're crafty.
quarantine habit. Yeah. I started a project. I'm like not even halfway done, but it's very soothing. I enjoy it.
Nice.
But I suppose, without any further ado, we should get into the news, shouldn't we?
Let's do it.
I wish you guys could have seen Seth dancing.
You will never see it. You'll never see it.
All right, first up this week, Gaylord Palms Resort in Orlando has kicked off Pirate and Princess Weekends, which, if you don't know, it's a resort wide experience that includes all your favorite swashbucklers and royalty having tons of fun for all ages. And it's happening now through March 7th, 2021.
Um, this should not be confused with the pirates and princess parties that they used to do at the Magic Kingdom.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Rest in
I
peace.
remember those. But
Oh,
these actually sounds like a lot of fun. There's a Pirates and Princess Pirate Outpost Invasion show, which involves drinking something called Captain's Brew, which sounds suspiciously like butterbeer, if you ask
yeah.
me.
Hmm.
But there's all sorts of activities and things around the resort, and this sounds like a great way of people in during a slow time of year. I guess everyone else is doing Mardi Gras. A lot of people do pirates and princesses and for Mardi Gras parades, so it's close enough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they also have a speakeasy, a pirate speakeasy, which sounds very cool. They have both kid friendly and adult friendly beverages, so you can bring the younger. Um,
I
I'm
was
trying
gonna
to.
say I don't know if it's appropriate to bring children to a speakeasy.
Well, it says kid
All sorts
friendly.
of unsavory people at speakeasies.
They also have an interactive pirate bust in there that tells jokes and interacts with guests, and I kind of just want to see that. Like, is it like the fountain at IOA where you can get heckled, or
Right.
is it just like a pre-recorded set of triggered reactions and things? I need
Well,
to
I
know.
think you're gonna have to book a room at Gaylord Palms and
Well,
check it out.
I guess I'm coming to Orlando. This has been a long time coming.
I
Uh,
feel like we have been following this story for decades. Not quite that long, but
no, at least
definitely a long time coming.
2016, I
Yeah.
think, was the earliest that I could find. But the state of Florida has finally reached an agreement to acquire Crossroads of Lake Buena Vista, which you might know as the place where McDonald's is right across from the Disney Springs entrance into Walt Disney World.
I think it's kind of interesting. A lot of people don't know that that was originally built and developed by Disney and then kind of turned over to third parties. But it was a great place for a long time to get just enough off Disney property that you could, you know, get a meal that was slightly cheaper. Not a lot cheaper because all the restaurants there, you know, they paid high rent and they charge high prices. You had which was a very nice but kind of really expensive grocery store, and you had a really cool mini golf. A lot of stuff there. People visited for many many years, and it's you know the axe has been over this for a while. You know, I feel like I wrote an article about about the Crossroads closing any day now about 2 years ago. So, but August it looks like is going to be it.
Yeah, so the deal, it reached $198 million was the cost to acquire this land in eminent domain, which if you
Yes.
don't know what that means, it is when the state acquires private land for public use and they
Which,
want to, what? Go ahead.
which means if you are a taxpayer in Florida, you just bought Crossroads. Uh, you own a tiny
Congratulations.
you own a tiny fraction of it. Congratulations.
And they hope to use that land to expand exit 60, what is it? 65, 68?
Yeah, this is the if you are heading westbound on I-4, this is the exit for Disney Springs, the old Disney Springs and the Disney Hotel Plaza exit. Most people now skip past that exit and go to the one that's direct to the Disney Springs garages and Epcot because that intersection is hellish.
Oh, it sucks.
It is a mess, and by doing this purchase and rebuilding that intersection, it will hopefully help alleviate one of the major causes of backups in that section of I-4. So,
Yes.
as someone who lives around here and has to drive through here regularly, it can't happen soon enough.
I used to go that way very often, and it always stressed me out because
Yeah.
people would switch lanes from one side to the other. The stoplight would take forever or change too quickly. So this is a welcome change.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that.
Hmm.
Over at SeaWorld Orlando, they have launched their preschool card for this year, which allows Florida resident preschoolers to get into the park for free and experience their seasonal events and everything the park has to offer.
Now, obviously, your preschooler has to have an adult who has paid for admission in
Right.
order to go. You drop your
just drop your
preschooler off
preschoolers
at the
off.
gate and tell, "Go on, I'll pick you up in 8 hours." But especially if you took advantage of one of the fun card offers that they had earlier this year, where you could basically buy a day and get an annual pass. If you took advantage of that for yourself and then you add this on for a couple kids, that's a huge savings versus going to one of the other parks.
And I think looking at the offerings for preschoolers in general, that Sesame Street land is incomparable for
Yeah,
kids.
SeaWorld Orlando has always been one of the strongest parks outside the Magic Kingdom for preschoolers. They really have kind of focused on that niche, and with the Sesame Street expansion, it's a really great choice for kids, even if they aren't big enough to get on Manta and Crab. Though, if you want to put your preschooler on Mako, go for it.
Oh gosh.
Get lifts for their shoes. I'm sure it'll be fun.
Didn't some famous dad glue like flip-flop bottoms to their kids' shoes? I remember hearing something silly about that.
Note
But
that this is for entertainment purposes only. We do not advocate
No.
choosing the ride safety systems.
someone's gonna say Seth Kuberski said that I could put lifts in my kids' shoes and get them to ride Manta.
Disclaimer: not valid in your state.
Oh, I knew it. It was Chris Hemsworth.
Awesome.
I'm glad someone remembered and that I didn't just make that up. This was a huge, huge, huge surprise. So, the Muppets have an official Twitter, in case you didn't know, and they tweeted out that there was an exciting Muppet announcement coming soon and that they didn't even know what it was. And for 4 agonizing days, I would check the Muppets Twitter to see if they said anything. Sure enough, they definitely didn't. And then the day that I did not check, they announced this, that the Muppet Show is coming to Disney Plus exclusively on February 19th, and it's apparently getting remastered. Plus, you get the 2 seasons that they never released for home consumption.
So I am so thrilled about this, especially because season 4 includes the Star Wars episode with Mark Hamill and C-3PO and R2-D2, which I have been wanting to get a copy of for 20-something years. February 19th, I know I will be sitting in front of my TV. I am a little concerned about this remaster because the clips that they've shown are in widescreen. And the Muppet Show, as far as I know, was not filmed for widescreen. In fact, Jim Henson was really careful about how he framed the puppets for a 4:3, frame.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how they're doing this or who is supervising this remaster. I'm sure it'll look sharper and brighter, but I want to make sure that we're not either losing important stuff, like when they released the Simpsons episodes in widescreen and cut out important sight gags, or even worse, if they're going to expose stuff that we're not supposed to be seeing.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely going to be there tuning into Disney Plus to watch it for sure.
Yep. I mean, WandaVision, at least so far, is in 4:3.
Goes back and forth.
Yeah.
But that's definitely an artistic decision.
Choice, yeah.
And
so it's not like they can't just leave it alone.
They absolutely have the techno. A lot of times it seems like things that they think are aimed at adults, they'll give the proper aspect ratio. Whereas if it's aimed for kids, they're like, oh, kids won't understand if it doesn't fill up the screen, so we'll just make it widescreen, whether it is supposed to be or not.
I have a hope for the Muppet Show getting put on Disney Plus that they will be able to track the views of it, because they have the technology to do that, and maybe
absolutely.
give us more skit-based Muppet content and not Muppets Now. No disrespect to the Muppeteers, but it was.
I think Muppets Now was them trying to adapt to social media, because TikTok is basically like variety television for today.
Yeah.
I think some of it was successful and some of it wasn't, but I think the more old school the Muppets go, the better they are at connecting with and seeming relevant. The more they try to be hip, the more out of touch they seem.
Well, The Great Gatsby entered the public domain this year, so maybe we could get a Muppet Great Gatsby.
Oh,
Can you imagine?
Can't be worse than what Baz Luhrmann did.
Who would be Gatsby? Would you make Kermit Gatsby, or would you make Kermit Nick Carraway? That's the real question.
Oh no, yeah, I think Kermit would be Nick, and I think I don't know, Rizzo? No. Gonzo?
Oh my god.
I mean, Miss Piggy would have to be Daisy, because she wouldn't let anyone else,
Uncle Deadly would have to be Tom.
Okay.
Okay. Jim Henson Company, if you're listening.
Fan casting the Muppet Great Gatsby. This is what the Attractions podcast has turned into, folks.
We're going to
Please send help.
A Muppet podcast. I mean, that sounds pretty great to me. In some exciting Disney Parks news, we got a look at Tom Holland in Web Slingers: A Spider-Man Adventure, one of the attractions coming to Avengers Campus whenever Disneyland opens back up.
So this confused the heck out of me. And here's why. So we had seen a while back concept art of Spider-Man appearing in the pre-show of the attraction. And at first we thought, well, maybe that's an animatronic. And then we're thinking, no, it's probably one of those Musin hologram projection type things. But it clearly showed Spider-Man in his outfit. Now, these green screen photographs that we have of Tom Holland filming do not show him wearing a Spider-Man outfit, and they also don't show him wearing a motion capture suit. Because normally, most of the time when you see Spider-Man on screen in the Marvel movies, it's CGI. But this is him wearing a web hoodie and some jeans. He's looking very casual. He doesn't really, I don't know, he doesn't really read Peter Parker to me so much as just Tom Holland.
I think it's the hair because I have a conspiracy theory that they shot this after he filmed Cherry, and that movie he shaved his head. So it looks like grown out shaved head to me instead of like the beautiful locks of Peter Parker in the more recent Spider-Man films.
So, whatever this little bit that we see being filmed, and it's a very short clip, obviously he's somehow providing his voice and likeness for what we presume is going to be the pre-show. And we also get a very goofy little look at him flinging his arms around, making Spider-Man gestures inside the ride vehicle. So, every time that they release a new little bit of this attraction, I want to get excited, and instead I just get a little bit more confused.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's curious. I guess, does this take place in a world where everyone knows that Spider-Man is Peter Parker, and that's why it's cool for him to just, be chatting with people without his mask on? I don't know. A lot of things. I have questions that need answers, and hopefully someday the park will open, the attraction will open, and we will all know for sure.
Yes. To my understanding, the Web Brigade is like a Stark initiative, and Peter submits like inventions and things to it. So this is Peter Parker, the smart kid, not Peter Parker, who's also Spider-Man. I feel like something will happen, and then Peter will have to leave, but then Spider-Man will show up, and we'll be like, oh, hate that Peter's missing this.
So strange that they're never in the same place at the same time.
Suspicious. A win for Walt Disney World Entertainment happened this week with the announcement that Festival of the Lion King is returning to Disney's Animal Kingdom.
It's actually going to be a celebration of the Festival of the Lion King.
Oh.
Disney has kind of done this with the Epcot festivals, calling them a taste of a festival. So this is going to be a celebration of a festival of the Lion King. Little awkward, but it's sort of their way of saying that it's not 100% the show that you're used to. There's going to be changes in the choreography. There might be some things cut out or rearranged. And obviously the audience is going to be with a limited capacity and distance seating. It's not 100% the festival show, which is the most popular show at the Animal Kingdom, but it's a big step in the right direction. I'm just a little disappointed that it's not going to open until summer. We've got a long, spring break season and everything to get through, and summer seems like a long way away.
Yeah, but I mean, last year went by pretty quickly, and if things kind of how they are,
2020, the year that took 10,000 months.
Yeah, up until like October, and then it was over in the blink of an eye. I don't know.
I'm curious. I hope this paves the way for other attractions. I think Finding Nemo is going to be a tough one to do with all those puppets. That's a hard one to socially distance.
That one though.
But the Beauty and the Beast show, some form of the Indiana Jones stunt show, those kind of big open air stage shows. I hope those come back too.
I do too. Well, let's hope that this is a good sign for the rest of those shows.
Yep.
And our last bit of news in the queue for today, a sad thing. Disneyland Paris just can't catch a break. They have
Yep.
announced that they are not going to reopen on February 12th as they had previously hoped, um, due to the situation in the world and current lockdowns happening in Europe.
Yeah, this is rough because it's like their third false start. They had
Yep.
shut down but hoped to reopen late last year. They canceled a week or so of opening around Christmas. They were supposed to get back open in February. It's just it's not great over there, and I feel like as slow as our vaccine distribution is over here, I don't think it's any better over there right now. Hopefully by April 2nd, they can pull things together enough to reopen that resort.
Yeah. Um, as far as I know, right now they're still refurbing the castle.
Mm,
So if they started just after the new year, or they
mm-hmm.
were supposed to. So maybe by April 2nd, if things are a little better, we could see that new castle, that refreshed coat of paint.
Yeah. The only positive side to all this is Disneyland Paris is definitely a park that could use some maintenance and repair, and this has given them plenty of time to give it touch-ups.
Oh, yeah. Please give that castle some love. She's so pretty.
Hmm.
And for our main attraction, I thought we could do something a little different.
We're not going to
Um,
talk about WandaVision.
no, we're not going
No.
to talk about WandaVision. There
Third
has
episode
been
was great, by the way.
Oh, it was so good. But now I'm like officially caught up with
I was going
everyone
to say, you're
else.
in the dark. You're with
Yeah,
the
now I
rest
have
of us
no idea
now.
what's going on. But a lot of talk has been happening about The Mandalorian and its effect on the Star Wars fandom at large, and how that relates to the Disney parks, and how people want to meet Grogu slash Baby Yoda and see them in Galaxy's Edge, but how that's not really possible. And I felt inspired by our contributor, Jeff DePauli, who does a weekly column called DePauli on the Parks. And this week's topic was should Star Wars Galaxy's Edge have a more fluid timeline? And I thought it would be interesting if we could just like talk about it. And you in the chat, if you've got interesting thoughts and viewpoints, please throw them in the comments and we'll pull them up on screen. But it's definitely an interesting concept. I feel like I've been following Galaxy's Edge for a tenth of my life.
Yeah.
And I got to go to Star Wars Celebration Chicago where they had all the panels for it and everything. So I'm very attached to how it is now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, anything involving Star Wars, especially something revolving around the sequel trilogies and tied closely to The Last Jedi, people get really heated.
Oh yeah.
People have sometimes inappropriately emotional or personal reactions to some of this stuff. And I first say that Disney themselves has given no signs that they want to make any changes.
Yeah.
This is all fan driven, and some of it is
Yeah.
driven by small angry pockets of fandom that don't always have as much influence as they want to think they have. So this, but it's still interesting to speculate because obviously there are some really popular elements of Star Wars right now that are not being exploited properly in the land in terms of economics. If you want to make some money on Grogu dolls, you're leaving cash on the table right now. I think there was that Nerdist article that we
Yes.
also linked to,
Yeah.
and I think right off the bat we got to say Disney has sunk a lot of money into this place, and they're not doing anything that's going to rip out or tear out. They're not erasing the sequel trilogies. They're not firing Kathleen Kennedy. They're not undoing Star Wars, in the theme parks or anywhere else. What we have is pretty much what you've got for at least the next 20 or 25 years, just because of capital expenditures. There isn't another $1 billion to make major changes. But you could potentially see characters and live entertainment and some sort of overlays added. I personally think that any overlays you might do would go to Millennium Falcon because as a video-based ride, it's tailor-made for swapping out programming. Rise of the Resistance doesn't need an overlay. They do the Haunted Mansion A Nightmare Before Christmas in California because the Haunted Mansion is not that super popular and doesn't have people waking up at 7 a.m. to get boarding passes for it. So they can afford to swap it out and, get a little bump in attendance that way. Rise of the Resistance has all the popularity it needs, and there's no reason whatsoever to invest in making some seasonal variation that'll just make annual pass holders grab up more boarding passes.
Yeah.
Characters is definitely a place I could see. The problem is timeline.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Scott Trowbridge and the Imagineers behind Galaxy's Edge are deeply invested in the world that they have built and how everything fits together, and are not going to wholesale violate that just to please fans. I personally think that there is an escape route. There's a loophole that they could use, and that would be the world between worlds.
Ooh.
Star Wars is established that, there's kind of a mystical element that lets people come from different time frames, and be together in the same place. If they brought in either some sort of venue or even some sort of seasonal celebration that was like, we're tapping into the world between worlds to celebrate the Clone Wars era, and we bring in a bunch of Clone Wars characters to walk around.
Oh man.
Yes, it would be a stretch, but technically you could stretch the canon to make it fit. As much as I want to see the Mandalorian and Grogu walking around the park, I think the man dead at this point because his helmet is hanging on the wall inside Doc Ondar's den of antiquities.
Yeah,
So
I don't like that. It was cool before the show premiered because I remember going in and being like, "Oh, that's Mando's helmet from that show that hasn't come out yet."
right,
Um,
and now you're like, why doesn't he have his helmet?
yeah.
No.
I don't know. Let him be alive. It's fine. Um, I mean, of course, there have been the rumors about Mando. I've heard that they're gonna take out the TIE Echelon and put like a smaller version of the Razor Crest
Okay,
in.
I if anyone who started that rumor was not paying attention when they definitively blew up the Razor Crest,
Yeah.
unless it's like the Enterprise where we build the Razor Crest 1701A, and it looks exactly like the last one. I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to see overlays come to Smuggler's Run because at least when it was initially announced, they
Hmm.
pitched multiple missions for
Yeah,
it.
I mean, we've seen footage for, prototypes or test versions of a smuggler's run through a at factory and some other possible destinations. So
There was one
yeah,
involving a creature from
hmm
Solo.
yes,
Yeah.
the maw of the Kessel Run. Yep. So yeah, there's certainly, they've thought about doing that, and that would be a great way, especially since right now, Millennium Falcon, I was there just the other night and waited 15 minutes for the attraction, and that's with them only putting one party per cabin.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, so I think that Rise of the Resistance is still pulling in its numbers. Millennium Falcon might already be softening in its popularity, and swapping out those missions would definitely boost that.
Make it like Star Tours where you don't know what mission
Yeah.
you're going to get and it's like randomized. That would be so cool. Drew suggests they add the Bantha ride. They would need more land for
Yeah,
that.
I don't think that that would have been a great thing. It would have sort of been the people mover of Galaxy's Edge, and would have given you a view of the land, and there's just no room for the infrastructure that would have been required for that. No, I think the best we can hope for is something stuck behind Oga's Cantina, because there's still a plot of land where they originally planned to put a full service dining location.
I want that though. The concept art for it is
Yep.
incredible. It looks like a CD, like I keep saying Solo, but that was Solo and Rogue One were a lot of what they referenced.
Hmm.
Like a seedy like dinner club. They'd have live bands, and oh man, it would have just been
Yeah.
so cool.
I think the problem is that gets back to the same reason why the Tiki Room is a show and not a restaurant. Because they never figure out if the show is good enough, how do you get people to stop eating and leave?
Ooh,
Yep.
I never thought about it like
Of
that.
course, we don't have that problem at Cosmic Rays, but that's mainly because of the food.
Oof, yikes. Um, Another thing that I was thinking about because of Jeff's article was the dissolution of a strict timeline. Like the timeline is still there
Hmm.
if you want it, but they would also be like, you could see Boba Fett walking around. It doesn't matter. Like just kind of throw it all to the wind and keep it, but not keep it.
Hmm. Uh, yeah, I just think that, the Imagineers have sunk so much into it. They're whatever they do, they're going to come up with some sort of justification.
Yeah.
They've hammered on making this part of the canon so hard that for them to give up on that, I think they just to save face, they'd come up with some sort of roundabout explanation. Like maybe the citizens of Black Spire are having a celebration and they're cosplaying
Oh
as
my.
Boba Fett.
Yeah, I mean, Black Spire has been very deeply entrenched in the canon at this point. I
Hmm.
mean, there are books set on the planet of Batu. There are VR experiences that are in world canon that you can play on the Oculus Quest. They mention Batu or Black Spire in Solo, and it's been mentioned in like a Thrawn book by Vader or something, or they go to Oga's Cantina. They've really tried to make it a part of the fabric of Star Wars at large. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and
Everyone
and
thinks it's so easy that they can just, I don't know, toss it all out and just do whatever they want if they want it. I mean,
I don't know. I kind of like the role playing aspect of Galaxy. I kind of like how well everything was thought out. It doesn't necessarily translate to the casual observer. If
yeah,
you're if you're a fan who's into all the details, it's great. But it kind of makes you think that Universal sort of knew what they were doing when they made the Wizarding World generic enough that it sort of takes place somewhere in the first five books, more or less. And if you think too hard about it, it doesn't quite make sense. But just go with it because you get to see what you want to see.
yeah. And you get to hear the music in the
Exactly.
land.
Well, yeah, I you
Yeah,
know I was just thinking that when I was over there a couple days ago and walking through how it just not doesn't feel like a Star Wars theme park. It doesn't feel like a theme park at all because you're just hearing, insects and, occasional vehicle noises and none of that kind of atmospheric soundtrack that you hear everywhere else in every theme park.
yeah. I would love to see them add score, even if it's just like low key rearranged, just to have that sense of
Hmm.
familiarity beyond the atmospheric noise. I think would be great. Another thing that Potter does that I find really interesting that Star Wars Galaxy's Edge does Harry Potter does not is that you never see Harry, Ron, and Hermione in the land ever. Other than the rides, like they're never around. But in the land, you see Ray, Kylo walking around. Um, and I think that's how Harry Potter is able to kind of tiptoe around the timelines without
Hmm.
getting too convoluted.
Yeah, from what I remember, J.K. Rowling and the Warner Brothers people were really concerned about second-rate lookalikes. And Daniel Radcliffe too. He didn't wasn't thrilled about the idea of someone impersonating him in a theme park.
Yeah.
Um, you know, uh, with most of the Star Wars characters, they get real lucky because they all wear masks, except for Rey. And man, the the Ray that they have, or at least the one that I saw the other day, is a dead ringer for Daisy Ridley.
Really?
Like the
Wow.
woman they found, just she's got that jawline, she's got those eyebrows. It's scary how much she looks like, and she does a really good accent too.
Maybe it is
So
Daisy Ridley and
it
she's
may
just
be. I mean, there's
moonlighting.
not a lot of movies being filmed right now. She had spare time. And I will say the Wookiee that they got to play Chewbacca looks just like Chewbacca. You know, I know some people think all Wookiees look alike, but
They
no, no.
Um, well, now I'm thinking about uh, Mala and Itchy.
and, and
They had them
Lumpy.
in the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special.
I'm really hoping, they sort of teased us with some Life Day stuff this last year, mostly just an excuse to buy Boba Fett dolls,
Yeah.
which I fell for. I'm such a sucker. Uh, But I would love if next year we could have a real Life Day celebration, get some more out there in red gowns and
Oh man.
maybe yeah I think if we could get B Arthur, I don't know if she or alive, but I'm sure she could mix up some drinks. It would be great.
Have some gourmanda specials over at Oga's. Stir whip and all
Whip
of
whip
that.
stir.
But it's a complicated topic and it seems to get everyone heated no matter which side of the argument you're on.
Yeah, the one thing I will say is if any kind of variations come, they're more likely to come in California than in Florida, because the Walt Disney World management has a history of not doing the kind of seasonal overlays, especially if they require shutting down an attraction. Um, California has always been more eager to do that, though now that they no longer have an annual pass holder program, maybe they won't be so eager to do that.
At least the stuff that they were proposing in that survey.
Yep.
Um, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how like the people's Disney park changes when it's not so easily accessible.
And I think we have the perfect comment to end this Star Wars discussion on from viewer of videos. No
Hopefully,
matter what side you are on, I think we can all agree we don't need Jar Jar
see, I'm on Drew's
there.
side
Drew,
here.
oh Drew.
When I
Uh,
think Jar Jar Binks is underrated. George Lucas said Jar Jar is the key to all of this. That is a direct quote.
well, it,
Gives
it is. I mean, Palpatine's rise is all Jar Jar's fault. Uh, if he hadn't been behind that vote of no confidence, the Republic would never have fallen. Um,
Put some respect on Jar Jar's name, everybody. Come on. The prequels have been out long enough. You can stop pretending that they're not enjoyable. But that's an argument
th-
for another day.
We don't have enough time left.
No,
Oh,
no,
no.
we don't. Now, before we go, I would like to give out some listener thank yous. If you didn't know, we have a 4-tier subscription service here at Attractions Magazine. 4 tiers. It used to be 3, now it's 4, with Basic Club,
That's
VIP,
one
and
more.
Digital. For those of you who prefer to use an e-reader or your phone. And if you pick Club or VIP the week after you subscribe, you get a shout out here on the Attractions podcast. So big
Shout.
thank you and applause to Penny Gladeski, Stephanie Hunsicker, Brian Cass, and Greg Moore. Thank you so much. I'm sorry if I butchered your names. Please forgive me.
Thank
But we
you.
really appreciate your support. And if you are interested, you can pick up our winter 2020/2021 issue on our shop now at attractionsmagazine.com/store. And if that digital subscription option sounds enticing to you, you can learn more about it there as well.
That's awesome. Should we also tell them to subscribe
Yeah.
and on iTunes, and more importantly, give us a review?
5 stars if you feel generous.
Even if you don't feel
Please.
generous, it's really not costing you anything. It's
Yeah.
it's nothing out of your pocket. And it means so much to us.
It does, and it helps the algorithm gods over at Apple Podcasts show our work to people who might want to listen to it, so our little corner of the internet can get bigger. So please, if you don't mind, rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, leave a review, subscribe, share with your friends, send an episode to your grandma you think she might like. You never know. So if you would tell the folks at home where they can find you on the interwebs.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at skubersky or at the UG series. And if you head to theunofficialguides.com, you can order a copy of my brand new book, the 2021 Unofficial Guide to Universal Orlando, or better yet, tune in next week and we're going to be having a giveaway. We've got not one, but 2 copies of the new book to give away. And as soon as we figure out our amazing new contest, you will be able to participate. Tune in next week for details on that.
Yes, we will get back to you on that, but tune in next week for that giveaway. And you can find me at Brittany Tuttle. That's BRITTANITUTTLES is spelled funny on Twitter and Instagram, as well as every day on attractionsmagazine.com, at Attractions on Twitter, at Attractions Magazine on Instagram, and of course, youtube.com/attractionsmagazine, where you're watching this if you're here during the live show. And until next week, I hope you guys stay safe, wear your mask, wash your hands, but most of all, have fun. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.